Good morning, it's Brian. It is the Art of Startup War. I am back for another episode. As you all know, these episodes are for one thing and one thing only, and that is to get more wealth for the folks who are listening to it. We've already had the good fortune of investing in these companies. We believe that they are going to do incredible things, and I merely bring you one every single week, which is a company that we believe is going to do incredible things, is already doing incredible things, but is going to do incredible-er things in the future. This is one such company. And look, whenever I'm looking at companies in Expert Dojo, I'm thinking you need an incredible founder. You need someone who's just a beast of an executor. You need to have a market which is something where maybe it doesn't have to be that something recently has happened to entirely change that market, but it sure as hell helps. You need to have the right timing in place, and you need to make sure that within the market themselves, there's not too many people who are just biting at your heels and trying to come at you. This is this company. It's the future of work. We're going to talk about the future of work. We're going to talk about human-centric organizations. We're going to talk about how the heck organizations are even going to retain their staff in the future with this crazy world we're in, where 50, 60% of staff are now working from home. Nobody knows how to manage them, monitor them, take care of them, keep them, or even make them in the minimal piece happy, except for Viveka. Katja, welcome to the show.
Hi, Brian. So good to be here.
Okay, so we're going to talk about all this stuff, right? But first of all, we're going to go right back to the beginning. And everybody who's listening to the show, which is virtually all investors, anybody else is lost, or they're curious, they want to see great startups doing amazing things. But the rest of the folks are people who are thinking, I want to see the company, I want to understand like the size of the market, the problem, I want to see how much money is being spent right now, I want to see what they've raised, I want to see where they're going, and everything that goes along with this. But before we get to all of that, and in the context that this is all going to be about the future of work, can you take us back to the genesis of the idea? Like, what was the huge problem that you saw? And what was maybe a background that you had that tied into this problem that made you believe this is uniquely the thing that I was put on this planet to do?
Yeah, well, okay, let's take it back to the roots, to the origins. So I think every founder, the Japanese symbolism of the ikigai, right? It talks about
that.
it is so true, right? It's that intersection between what are you passionate about, what's your skill set, and how does it actually make money? And if you can find a sweet spot right in the middle of that, then you found your purpose. And that's really what it was for me. My passion was always in human potential and coaching and being coached. I have been a coach and coach since I'm 19. It really put me on this amazing projection for my own career, which I had no idea would happen as a sidekick. I really did it for me, for my family, for things that I saw, patterns that I wanted to unravel and help my own family and my relationships with. And then all these side effects happened. I went into consulting, and in the legal industry, I was global strategy manager of one of the world's largest law firms. And a couple of years later, 6 years later, I was poached to be COO of one of the world's largest law firms. And none of that would have happened if I hadn't done all that personal development and professional development beforehand that I was so passionate for or about. And it just really helped my own career projection. And then within that capacity of being in management of some of the world's largest companies, largest law firms, these are highly they're highly achieved, excellent corporations. When it comes to industries in general, there are the legal industry, probably along with consulting and accounting, some of the industries that really are excellent in execution and also very high demanding of their employees. And so I got to see firsthand how corporations are structured, how they structure their learning and development, how they invest in their human beings and their people and their workforce to not only make them more productive, but hopefully also make them more loyal and make them cheerleaders for your own company. And unfortunately, companies have really been struggling with that. And this dates to 5 years back and, put COVID in the mix and artificial intelligence and, IoT and AI. And, we're dealing with a whole new realm of uncertainty
And the pandemic,
individually.
right? The
And
pandemic was
COVID.
like a huge enabler. I'm also not sure. By the way, I love that you started with Ikigai. Like you set the bar a little bit high with total purpose from like the most purposeful philosophy that exists on the planet. But work should be like that. Life should be like that. All of us, rather than just trying to survive in life. And I really like this because it ties very much into this whole philosophy that you're going towards, that generally speaking, life should be about purpose. It should be about happiness. It should be about embracing the things that make you smile and make you think and make your mind wander and just all of the wonderful stuff that's there. And it's generally not. It's generally filled full of fear with most people. It's fear of losing your job. It's fear of things breaking down at home. It's fear of not having enough money. Like it's all fear-based. And many of the organizations, they followed this fear-based mentality at a time when there was way fewer organizations than there were people looking for jobs. And then two really big things happened, right? And the one that you always talk about, which is the Great Resignation. And the second thing was COVID. Like the first thing is there was more companies than people, right? And then there was full employment, which meant that if you treated people like that, you literally weren't going to keep them because there was 10 jobs available for every one thing there. And the second thing, which just for me was so crazy, was when COVID and the pandemic happened, it forever changed the landscape of work. We never more would 80%, 90% of your employees be in your office in a place where you can see if they're crying, you can see if they're having challenges, you can see if they're sick. Now they're out of sight, and really, you're the last person they're going to share with you. And so how do they deal with that? I normally I would categorize good and bad and everything, but I don't think any of them can deal with this.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And 2 points there. Fear-based leadership really is it's starting to be extinct. And we got away with a lot. And it was also, there was a reason for that. And we achieved a lot with that kind of leadership. But it's yesterday. It's the last century. We're not going to get away with it anymore. The future of work is really human, with a capital HUMAN, man, human relationships. And companies are starting to see it. They're starting to talk about it. White papers are coming out. And now we're seeing implementation of it. The most progressive companies are really starting to get out there and say, well, look, we're losing, like you said, Great Resignation happened, then the Great Transition, now the Quiet Quit. Like there's all these big terms that have been thrown around. But the reality is, and you hit the nail on the head, we've got less people and we need to increase productivity. So productivity pressures aren't stopping, but we've got less people. And the people that we have, we want to make sure that we're retaining the top performers. And so how do we not only retain them, but how do we also foster them? How do we grow them? How do we reskill them? Like there's statistics that 60% of workers need to reskill within the next years. 60%, and we've lost 25% of our workforce. So, it is the perfect storm that we're in right now, but that's the beauty, because old leadership styles, old ways of running businesses have changed. So of course we need to throw all the cards in the air. And it's a calibration process. And in all honesty, everybody's trying to do the best they can. Large companies have large budgets in place. They really do. So in some circumstances, their hands are tied, but in most circumstances, there's just a huge amount of overwhelm. And everybody's literally just, everybody has their own KPIs, OKRs, pressures. Then put on top of that, well, now, like everybody's leaving, who can I even rely on? Uncertainty is at a max. Mental health is also rise. Like there's a whole concoction of circumstances going on right now where I have compassion, and that's really why we created what we created.
So talk to us about that. So 'cause I think everybody feels it. It's really bad. If you're an employee, you're feeling really depressed right now because it sucks, right? And if you're an employer, you feel really depressed right now because it sucks. There's a misalignment, and whenever there's a misalignment, it needs to be fixed. So you saw this, and you said, I am uniquely positioned because of the things I've done before to be able to fix that. And more importantly, I'm going to bring in people who are able to create the technology to do it. Talk to us about what the it looks like, because it is way more than coaching. It is way more than monitoring. It is way more than lifestyle. And it's even way more than wellness. It's a whole encompassing world that you're bringing into these organizations to help employees really be way more than just more productive, be happier while being more productive. So share with us how you started to build it, and especially the challenges, because this must have been almost impossible to build. Take me back to those early days.
Yeah, okay. I would tell you first of all what we've done, and then, the whole journey and the trials and tribulations that we've experienced on the path. So um, we've built a whole infrastructure, like you said. We've built a platform that really solves the entire learning, transformation, skilling, and well-being journey, not only for the employee, but also for HR and finance departments, as well as the coach. So we built a three-way SaaS solution. All of these solutions seamlessly interconnect with each other for perfect and consistent data exchange and also monitoring, which really allows the companies to stay in control, measure, execute, and administer more effectively, more efficiently, and gives them true insights to predict future trends and also make intelligent business decisions going forward, because companies are now looking to HR as the center for transformation. In all honesty, HR was a nice to have in the boardroom previously, and now it's like, no, we need HR and we need solutions here. However, every solution is informed by data, and if HR can't have data, and if it's been light and fluffy, it really becomes difficult to predict, analyze, and create business solutions for the future that can be invested in, really create return on investment, and when the executive team has confidence that these are the solutions for the future.
So break it
So,
down. So break it
mhm.
down. So you said, okay, I'm going to build this. Did you get like a gob of money in and just like build it all in one solution? Did you start building small pieces of it? Did you start building the coaching yourself and then start working it out? Like, how did you get it started? And then talk a little bit, dig in a little bit more to the technology so people can get a feel, as I already know, which is that this is badass technology, which is expensive, it's big, it's hard to build, it creates a moat around it, but it gives organizations a platform that they can really work from. But so take us, just bring us into the 5-year-old, this is what we built and this is what it did.
Yeah, absolutely. So it really was a 4-phase approach, and that evolved, which something that looks super strategic now, evolved over time of trial and error, and really, I know we've had the term of, being unconscious in your incompetence, and thinking you've got the grand solution, but then you go like, oh, hold on, but then you think the next step, and sometimes the path has only been illuminated once you take the next step. So that's kind of been the process here as well. So we started off with a marketplace, and then we looked at, well, how do we defend a marketplace with, so little entries to barrier, but also what really is the value proposition? Because, okay, great connectivity and vetting and transparency in an industry that's not transparent, and becoming like an industry body that helps with the governance of it. Yes, and peer-to-peer feedback and all that great stuff. But the reality is it's not scalable, it's not defendable, and you're not going to grow a unicorn out of that. And it's also not sticky. So the sticky was the first problem that we solved. Like, how do we stay sticky and top of mind with our supply? Because the marketplace is obviously supply and demand. We know all that you kind of have to build up both pillars. And so we focused on the supply first, and was like, okay, well, in order to make, in my opinion, to grow a business that really becomes viral, every stakeholder in the journey, their pain point, their pain points need to be addressed. So we first looked at the pain points of the coach, which were they want more clients, and they quite frankly have no idea how to automate their business or run their business some of the time. And it's also an expectation that's a bit rich, because if you think about it, these are experts in psychology, in leadership, in well-being, in whatever it may be. Point of the matter is they don't have a digital marketing background. They don't have a sales background. They definitely don't have an accounting background. Their mind isn't even shaped that way. And so they need support in these things. So we gave them all these. We gave them an accountability management tool. We gave them a scheduling tool. We gave them automation tools that really has all their program managements broken down, which quite frankly, it doesn't only serve the coach, it also serves the client, because now the interaction is consistent. It's not just spreadsheet managed, like, oh my God, Julie has her meeting on Tuesday. I have to send out which document do I have to send out? What did she already receive? No, all of this is automated. So Coach Sarah knows that Julie is her second client. So there's a 10-week program. Every client, when they schedule in, because it's all automated, the system recognizes, oh, Julie's in her second meeting, so this webinar gets sent out, this PDF set gets sent out, this reminder gets sent out towards the meeting. This accountability actions from last week are also in that email and get prompted, and Julie can see what's been done. So it really facilitates the coaching experience, the coach-client experience in a very qualitative, measured way. And then the next step was like, okay, that's nice, but we really don't want to milk the coach here. We want to support them in order to make this really meaningful. We can't take extraordinary fees from them. Sure, take a membership and a SaaS subscription, that's fine. But in order to scale this a lot, we need to go to the businesses that have the big budgets. And also, that's how we can make the biggest impact. Because at the end of the day, let's be honest, we're all human beings. We want to be better. We want to evolve, but we don't want to pay for it. So companies already have these budgets in place. Let's go there. And they have huge pain points. Now we've already spoken about a couple, but retention, productivity, loyalty, and that doesn't even speak to the costs that are involved. The costs of people not showing up to work. With a T, $trillion last year is the cost of people not showing up to work, of absenteeism. Yes, that includes sick leave, but that also includes people just not showing up. That's the $1 trillion. It's a huge cost to companies, that they're just not motivated, and they're not an employer of choice, and they don't have the loyalty of their employees or the motivation or the support, because it goes both ways. So there's hard numbers behind this, why companies need to pay attention, and now as a result are paying attention, which is great. And it's not all driven by the love for their people. It's driven by their bottom line and by their own existential risk, quite frankly. Yeah. What they were missing was an infrastructure. It's nice. Like companies,
But you also layered on top of the infrastructure as well, right? You put not just the coaches, but you also gave the organizations the ability, if they wanted to do gym memberships, and if they want to have people do things outside that will actually satisfy their mind, or folks say, hey, you know what? I'm going through a tough time. I could really do with meditation for a while. And so building in not just the performance, but also building in the mind. And that's what really attracted me to everything that you were doing at the beginning. It's like you have the mind, you have the mind, the performance, and the body. Like you have all of it. So if you've got a great employee and they like going to the gym, well, come on, how hard is it to pay a couple of bucks a month so that they go down the gym and they care about you, because you're now facilitating the thing they like more than anyone else in the world. And you were one of the first people who came to me who talked about a wellness budget rather than forcing 3 or 4 wellness perks down an employee's throat, which they may have no need for. And I know a lot of what you're looking at is like as it starts and as it grows and where it goes to in the future. And I want to get at the end, I want to get to what that great vision looks like as you continue to expand and expand and expand the product. But talk to me first about money that's being raised, money that has been raised. You've had some great raises and great money come through. Talk about money that you're going to raise in the future. We don't need to go into valuations or anything else, but just to give a feel, and then what you're going to spend that money on the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And just one point to what you just said, because that just triggered something that I didn't even mention. Not only do we look at the human being holistically, but we look at the processes holistically within the company. Because the company process within this whole learning, 60% of learning is outsourced, meaning a company sometimes deals with 10, 100, 1,000 contractors to support learning. Not only is that an administration risk and burden, that's a financial burden, and it also like takes to actually execute the coaching, to get the people to attend, it's hurting cats, you know. So we also looked at the processes within the company, centralizing everything for them. The only platform, by the way, that truly centralizes all data and processes for companies. And yes, like the scalability, because we're a platform that allows the companies to, hey, what programs do you want to create? What curriculums do you need? It's white glove, it's tailored. We listen to them, and that really sets us apart. We say, what's your budget? Who do you want to train? You know, we don't have a blanket fee for all employees. We say, hey, do you want to start with this department? Roll it out there, see how it goes. Amazing. Do you want different budgets for executive team and your lower? I mean, do you want group coaching or one-on-one? What do you want? How do you want to execute your training? And the system, once it's set up and the onboarding can be done, you know, within 2 weeks. We don't have implementation, and we're cloud-based. The company, and of course we can integrate via API with the companies, with their existing HCMs, but ultimately they can kick off, and it's really tailored to where they're at, and then they see the results, and then they can scale with confidence. You know, we're reducing the risk on their end. How much money have we raised to date? So we've raised 700 to date, and we're currently raising 3 million. We're in due diligence with 2 lead investors. We have, we're really on the cusp of making this.
You're there.
Yeah.
You're there. And then that 3 million that you're going to raise, what are you going to use that for?
Yeah. So first of all, serving inbound client interest. So Tata is an implementation partner of ours. So Tata Consulting Services is one of the world's largest tech consultancies that really serves Forbes 500 companies. They've introduced us to some great companies, which I won't mention here on the podcast, but Fortune 500 companies that were now in the process of early negotiations. They love the flexibility and the adaptability that they have with our technology. And so the money is used, to serve the demand, the in-house demand. If we close one of these larger whales, these are companies that have 100,000 employees.
Wow.
So we need support for that. And obviously that will position us completely different for our next series, our next raise, and a massive valuation increase at a minimum 15x, like once we have one of these whales closed. And
what do you need support for? Just to carry the cash? Is it you just need like support for a bag to put all the cash into from these?
The black one. The black one.
Because once you get into these organizations, they're like the gift that keeps on giving. You just is like, oh, we have another 10 people, we have another 50 people, we have another 80 people, we have another 100 people. Like it is just about making sure once you show that their retention is better, their performance is better, their metrics are stronger. And as an organization, I love how you're always tying the data back into how successful their processes are for managing these people. Then you own them for life.
You really do. Churn is quite minimal once you have a system implemented in larger corporations. There's so much change management involved, as we all know. So yes, the sales cycle are a little bit longer, but our product's loved, and so it's only a matter of time. And so one, yes, customer support, closing them, increasing the sales team, digital marketing. So everything's used for growth. The software is done and ready. We're post MVP, we're post pilot, we've got paying corporate clients. So every dollar is invested to just scale from now on, which is great. Investors love hearing that. We've spent a lot of money on our own dime. Like, I've put in a very significant amount for my own savings, over 200,000. So we've got family and friends involved in previous rounds. I don't want to let anybody of that down, of course, when you have such trust and personal investment at stake. But not only that, obviously, this is bigger than myself and my money. This is a real purpose organization. But so technological development, last but not least, of course, we've got some really exciting things on our roadmap, including true AI implementation, threefold. So one, behavior recognition. Is the coachee falling asleep? Are they bored? Do they look distracted? Do they look puzzled? Coach gets prompted, hey, Sarah, you might want to try a different approach. And then obviously the AI learns with Sarah saying, no, I think you got that wrong. They're just taking a sip of coffee, or, but so there's that AI aspect. But then secondly, smart recommendations that, Amazon has been such a leader in this. Hey, Brian, we saw that you liked Sarah as a coach. You might also be interested in Bill and Bob. Or, hey, Brian, we know you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company in the pharma industry with $500 million in revenue. Companies your size, your industry have implemented these kind of approaches, and these are the results they've seen. Are you interested, to stay competitive? So it becomes a upselling, cross-selling machine. And
it becomes a data play, really, right? Because you gather so much data on these organizations while still keeping it anonymous for the organizations themselves, that you can see the interaction. And at the beginning, it starts off with assumptive logic, which is, look, choose to get the people to choose the coaches that they want and say, hey, we do this. Get the people to choose whatever health and lifestyle things that they need, and we'll see how things go. And then the assumptive logic is, look, if Brian says he wants to coach and Brian spends a bit of time with that coach, then there should be better results for Brian. But over time, you're going to build up really strong, logical, non-assumptive data, which will be based on the outlying results of what happened after each of the Brians engaged with their individual people, are engaged with whatever health outcome they have. And that way, when you go to a 10,000 person company, you can say, I know you feel you want that, but all of our data tells us if you want a better organization,
you need this. And this is why. It's no longer just a nice to have. Exactly. And then the third AI component, real quick, just to wrap that up, is we're building Viv. Viv is Viveka's artificial intelligent bot, which literally, is a humanoid. So a lot of coaching is personal, but there are a lot of frameworks, of course, that artificial intelligence can learn, that's just, gold, because now we can reach so many more people. But also companies love that, because not every coaching interaction has to be a one-on-one. Of course, the exponential, like return on investment, if you have a human one-on-one interaction, is a lot more. But companies may not want one-on-one interactions or group coachings for every single thing. So that's really beautiful. They can just have a bot that's always available. Obviously, it doesn't have to be scheduled. So that's what we're working on. And then lastly, learn to earn. How do we make this viral? So if we can, everybody likes to gamify stuff. If we can have we're building a learn to earn model for the employees. So not only are they motivated to learn, but now they get rewarded. So once people get rewarded, we all know dopamine and serotonin kick in, and you just come back for more because it's the good stuff, right? And then we're also giving sovereignty to the employees through blockchain integration by saying, hey, we know currently the workplace environment, like people aren't motivated to do stuff because they're like, well, I don't know how long I'm going to be at this company. I'm already applying for XYZ over here. But we say, well, you know what? This is yours. Take your learning CV with you. Take your credits with you. It's a second CV, and it just gives them, so much credibility, but also motivates them to participate more.
And this is why we're going for $3 million, because it's not a small play. If as an investor, you're looking for a small play, you're looking for like 10, 15, $20 million valuation of a company that exits and you do fine, great. This is not that company. This is a company that's going for the stars. This is a company that's looking at the likes of BetterUp and saying, oh my goodness, I can't even believe they reached those dizzy heights with such mediocre products. This is a company that has a leadership team that are looking at one thing and one thing only, and that is in excess of a unicorn. Now, whether it's a decacorn or 20 billion or 30 billion, we don't know. But what we do know is that the vision is big enough for any of those. So I want to, from my side of it as an investor, I couldn't be happier. I think we're like the cat that got the cream. This is an awesome company. The timing is so good. I said it at the beginning. 10 years ago, it would have been a great idea, great implementation with tough timing because organizations weren't ready. 10 years in the future, organizations will have adapted to a lot of the unprecedented future of work issues that they're facing today. In this moment is when there's more money than there has ever been in investment for the future of work. It is when there is more opportunity to bring products in. It is when the enterprises and the small, medium-sized companies are begging for solutions. And it's also where the staff are saying, come on, give me a break. I'm working 12, 13, 14 hours a day. I hate everything and I never seem to stop. Can we just work this thing out? So as an investor, I want to leave you with the last word, Katja, but as an investor, this is a great investment for us, and we're going to do fantastic from it. So if you could share with everybody your email address, please, so they could contact you. But then also really reinforce this vision that I think you alluded to earlier on, and I just spoke about right there. And for an investor, what are they investing in, and how far are you going to take this?
Yeah, I mean, it's not about smelling the coffee anymore. We're having breakfast. Like this is not a risky undertaking. We have LOIs from, companies for our pass in size of $1.5 million. We had as an implementation partner. They do due diligence on the world's most leading evolved technologies. They don't put their brand behind a technology that isn't solid and bulletproof and where they don't see potential. We're closing clients. We have clients already on board. So I just want to reassure, this is, the train has left the train is leaving the station, this is, we've boarded it, and it's not just a dream anymore. We're executing, we're taking action. And my email address is what you wanted me to share.
Yes.
So Viveka.world is the website. Check it out. It really tells you what the future of work is dealing right now. There's a newsletter. Please sign up for it. Please reach out to me directly. My name is Katja. It's spelled Katja, and then at Viveka.world. Viveka.world.
Katja, you're a beast. You're going to build a unicorn. I'm going to be with you all the way to watch you do it. I'm going to be standing by you as you're going ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, I can't wait. We couldn't have picked a better partner, really, Brian. Thank you for everything that you do with Expert Dojo, and you're really changing the whole startup ecosystem and the way that VCs think. So we couldn't have asked for better support.
Oh, come on. All right, though, I'll take it. Thank you. All right, that's a wrap before we keep saying nice things to each other. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Investors, you know where to find it. Look it up. We get you all the details, the prospectus, and you have everything you could want here. Katja, let's keep on building.
Thank you, Brian. Let's do it.
That's a wrap.